It's time for your starts and sits for week number 4 for CBS Local Sports. I'm Jamie Eisenberg. That's Dave Richard. That's Heath Cummings. We'll give you some suggestions to play and some guys to avoid on the week 4 slate. Let's start at the quarterback position. Guys, who are we starting this week?
It's who everybody knew they'd be starting by week 4, Andy Dalton. And really, it's a great matchup for him against the Falcons. So beat up in the secondary. I think you're going to see Andy Dalton continue to put up big numbers, just like he did in week 2 against the Falcons. Top 10 quarterback this week.
I am sitting Tom Brady this week. And no, I'm not saying things are over for Tom Brady. I'm not going to be the guy saying Tom Brady's washed up. But his situation hasn't changed this week. He still doesn't have enough weapons. He's facing a very good Miami Dolphins defense that gets Rashad Jones back. I'm not starting Tom Brady against this Dolphins defense.
You heard it here. Heath Cummings says Tom Brady is washed up. Let's go now to the running back position. Heath, who you starting?
I'm starting Chris Carson at least for one more week. I do think this is another situation where Brian Schottenheimer gets to do exactly what he wants to do, and that is run the ball. 30-plus carries for Carson last week. Would not be surprised if he approaches that number again against Arizona.
And I wish Detroit would learn the lesson that Seattle learned and give Kerryon Johnson tons of carries. 30 touches, that would be outstanding, but until we see that, despite getting 100 rush yards last week, I don't like his chances to repeat him. I think he's a flex running back at best.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to start Kerryon Johnson this week, but I am bullish on the rookie, and I think he's going to take apart that Dallas defense, but that's just me. Dave, tell me a wide receiver that we're starting.
Let's start with a rookie like Calvin Ridley, who last week had 3 touchdowns. The week before that had 1 touchdown. I think the touchdown streak continues. Very hard for defenses to contain him and Julio Jones. It's Cincinnati this week, Atlanta at home 3rd week in a row. I think Calvin Ridley, top 24 running back.
Amari Cooper has been up and down and up and down, mostly down. And I think he's going to be down again this week against the Cleveland Browns. This defense has been much better than we expected, and they're getting Emmanuel Ogbah back. This defense is going to give Derek Carr all kinds of trouble. He doesn't take the time to let Cooper get open. A lot of dump-offs. Sit Cooper.
From one Raider that you don't like to one Raider that you like at the tight end position.
Well, we just talked about how he won't take the time to let Amari Cooper get open. That's because he's throwing everything short within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, and I think that's what he does in this game as well. Jared Cook will be in that area. Cook will see a bunch of targets in this game. Should have scored last week, will score this week.
And it pains me to say that George Kittle is a sit. But we know that Jimmy Garoppolo done for the year, torn ACL. C.J. Beathard, the backup quarterback, now starter for San Francisco the rest of the way. I know he's got good chemistry with George Kittle going back to their college days, but I don't see George Kittle as a great option this week against the Chargers defense. That's been pretty good against tight ends. They held Travis Kelce to under 2 fantasy points back in week 1.
You actually like George Kittle this week?
Yeah, the one thing we saw from C.J. Beathard, kind of the same thing I said about Derek Carr. He does not wait to look deep, and he probably won't have a lot of time to look deep. I think the Chargers will get after him. He's going to have to throw the ball 40-plus times in this game. A lot of those targets are going to Kittle. I'll start Kittle.
We'll see how George Kittle does, as well as Andy Dalton as a start. Chris Carson, Calvin Ridley, and Jared Cook. Some sits are Tom Brady. I don't know if I agree with that one. Or Kerryon Johnson. Amari Cooper is a sit. And you heard the guys debate George Kittle. This has been your starts and sits for week number 4 on CBS Local Sports.